Not for every college game do you need a police escort into the stadium and a police escort out of the stadium.
What's football season like for you? Is football season fundamentally different than other sports seasons?
Yes, normally once football season comes, I disappear from everything. Like my friends and family, like they know if they want to see me, like I have a heart out by somewhere like around the middle of August. Like I just disappear and then I will reappear sometimes in December, sometimes in January, sometimes it's pushed all the way to February. So it just depends. Yeah, it gets absolutely insane.
As you lead up to a game, like what is the week like for you, the day like for you, et cetera, whatever time frame works?
For every single game, we will meet with both teams. A lot of times, the visiting team, we meet with them on Zoom. So we do a Zoom with the head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and some of the players. So hopefully, we do all of them at once. Sometimes they're spread out, they can last like a couple hours. So we will go around the horn. Like, first, it's a play by play guy, and then it's the color commentary guy, and then it's me. They ask questions, individually, and then I ask a question. We just kind of go around. So we'll talk to each coach for 20 or 30 minutes. Some last a little bit longer. And, they're asking them more about like their game plan, or players that are hurt or how to pronounce names. I look for more of like storylines of, okay, what changed from last game to this game? Like who are your leaders on the team? Just it changes throughout the season. So we meet with both teams and then we'll travel Thursday for a game because Friday we'll meet the home team in person. We'll do it all over again with the home team. And then we head out for the night, Friday night, and we all write all of our own stuff. Takes several hours. So we're normally up pretty late. And I'll put together like 10 set stories for the game that I would like to tell about these players, and then all of my other notes about what the coaches said and what, our experts think should happen. It's a lot of work for not a lot of hits, and you have to be okay with most of your preparation not even making it into the game, but you always have to be ready for it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, right? It seems like an immense amount of preparation. And then once the game starts, you kind of have no idea what's going to happen or if any of this is going to be used.
Yeah, so we have always what we call an open. So you will always see your sideline reporter at the very beginning of the game. Right before kickoff, they'll send it down, and it's really crazy. You think maybe you see them a lot. Our hits are like 20 seconds long, 20, 30 seconds. So I have this whole story, whether, like, say it's about the quarterback or something, and he's made some really big changes, and he's getting ready for this really tough team. So I've talked to him, and I have this information. I tell this whole story within about 20 seconds, 25 seconds. And then once the game starts, it really is the flow of the game. I may have all these stories about all these different players, but it really depends on if they're playing in the game or if they're doing well. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, hey, so this wide receiver over here, you haven't really seen him do anything, but I can tell you a nice story about him. That doesn't go with the flow of the game. So that's why you have to have so much preparation, because maybe it's like you know, their backup running back who happens to have like a phenomenal game or like a really good run or something. I want to be able to have something on that guy so I can kind of add to the storyline of the game. But then you're also looking for injury reports. Those are a little bit harder. NFL injury reports are easier than college because they're more forthcoming. In college, a lot of times we watch a guy get injured and they don't give us any information. So you have to like look at what it is without over speculating. Like if I see someone get hurt and they come off the field and they're grabbing their right leg and then they go into the injury tent and then they come out and they sit on the sideline and I don't know what's happening, I still have to come up with a report with that little of information, because the viewers at home want to know what's going on with this guy.
You're just bouncing back and forth between both sidelines the whole game, essentially.
Yeah. Normally I'll do one per quarter. I'll kind of switch sidelines, but then it depends. Say like a team's down and they're doing really bad and, their quarterback comes off and is like slamming his helmet, down, or maybe he grabs all of his offense around him and like wants to give him a speech. Like I kind of need to be aware of what's going on with each sideline because maybe I've spent almost the entire half on that sideline, but there's more information coming from it. So I can tell I have what I call a talkback button on my microphone, and I can go up to my producer and they won't hear me on air. I'm like, hey, I can give you an update on, kind of the atmosphere of what's going on the sideline. So then I can say, yes, they had the ball taken away from them, but as soon as they came off, their quarterback or their center or something, pulled his team around him and said, guys, like, we've got to get it. We just got to get, one play, one down, one at a time. Those are kind of the live stories that I'm looking for on the sideline. So, yeah, it's just, or if there's an injury, I have to run to the other sideline. So it's a lot of back and forth. You're never standing still during the game. And then even if you are on one sideline, you're working your way down the field as to where the ball is because you want to be able to see what's going on.
Our team's pretty forthcoming about it. Let's stick to kind of college. Are they pretty forthcoming? Are they glad to have you there? Are they kind of like, oh God, we got to deal with this sideline?
It depends. It kind of depends. And that's always a job of mine is to get them to like me, essentially, especially when we go into these meetings and if we're on Zoom or if we're in person, like we're not dressed up, we're wearing sweatshirts, it's not formal. A lot of times we have snacks or something like that. So I try to be as conversational as possible, and our goal is to never try to put that team in a bad light. Even if they're not having a good season, we're looking for the positivity from it, especially myself. So some coaches do not want to give you a lot of information. I will say like service academy coaches are very close to the vest, if you will. Some coaches are great. Some are very forthcoming. A lot sometimes it depends how long they've been coaching. If it's a new coach, you could get a new coach that wants to give you all the information, or you could get a new coach that's scared of the media, so they want to keep everything really close to the vest. And a lot of times the coaches that have been doing it a little bit longer, I think, trust the media more that, because they'll give us information, essentially kind of their game plan in these meetings. And we have to keep it quiet until the games begin. Like maybe we know a particular player is not going to be playing, but they'll ask us, please don't announce this until the game begins, like until kickoff or until right before kickoff. So the other team can't, formulate a plan around that. In the game, it depends. You can get kind of both worlds. You can get like a very what we call coach speak answer. It's like, oh, well, we need to get a first down and, we can't turn the ball over and, blah, blah, blah. We have to be better on special teams. And then sometimes coaches are like, I forget which coach it was, but one time he went in to halftime and he came back. He goes, yeah, I told those guys, like, if they don't want to play, don't come out of the effing locker room. Like, just stay in there. Those are the coaches that I love that are like really honest about their passion.
Kind of switching a little bit of gears in the sense, like how competitive of an industry is this to get into?
It is competitive. It's small. You can get into it, but as far as kind of climbing in it, there aren't a lot of jobs available. Like if you think about, female sideline reporters, we have CBS, which I work for, Fox, ESPN/ABC, NFL Network, and now Amazon. And that's it. I will say once you are in it, it is very supportive. The females especially it's a tight-knit group. We very much watch out for one another. We call each other, when the games are going on and check in with one another, whether it's, helping each other with a story or just what you're wearing that day or, hey, I just want to wish you good luck. Like there's not backstabbing or anything like that. I will say the females within the sports broadcast industry, excuse me, we are very close knit and we're very tight. So it's not competitive in that way. It's just more of trying to get your foot in the door and then continue to climb up.
How much do you really kind of have to know about the sport?
Everything.
Everything. Like you've got, I don't know anything about football. Like if somebody said what the
Yeah.
4-3 I know there's a 4-3 and a 3-4, and I couldn't tell you what the difference is before.
I will say so where you would say it's competitive, it is very hard to grow if you do not know your stuff because you will be caught very quickly. It will, for instance, if we're doing a segment um, with someone, or I'll just say for like sideline purposes, we have to do a live interview with a coach at the end of the first quarter and at the end of the third quarter. And that's live, and it is one or two questions, and you need to know what to ask him. Nobody's telling you what to ask. So you need to be able to be following the game to know a good question to ask that coach at the end of it. So, and it needs to be a little bit more in depth. It's not just, oh, what do you want to change in the second half? So in those instances, you really do have to follow and you have to be able to interpret what they're saying. And a lot of times, it's the same for halftime report. You talk to both coaches. If you're not doing an on-camera interview, the sideline job is you interview both coaches off camera. One's going into the tunnel, the other one's coming out of the tunnel, and you have about 30 seconds to formulate, kind of your plan in your head to do a live report in about 30 seconds. So in that instance, like if you don't know football and you don't understand what they're saying, then you're going to get caught. And, people at home are going to know, and they're going to let you know, and they're going to let your bosses know too. So you definitely have to study.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like, I'm kind of basing this off the mindset of 10 years ago, right?
Mhm.
And that was like, oh, there's women on the sideline of the football game. Like, is that still a thing? Or is that like, no, that's over with now?
No, if anything, I get kind of bothered that it's gone the other way, where like you almost exclusively only see women on the sideline. So I don't want it to be just women. I want it to be, I love seeing women on the sideline, but I would much rather across all spectrums of sports broadcasting kind of see it be a mix. Sometimes like if there are a lot of studio shows and I get this in that all of the analysts are men because they're former players, a lot of times they will have a female host. Maybe it's getting, former, having more female analysts or something like that. So I love the sideline role belonging to women, and them being good at it, but we never want to be hired based on you're a female that can fill this role. All of us want to be hired based on our merits as opposed to just kind of filling that role as a female who can do a job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Is the job what you thought it would be?
Yes, it's definitely more intense and harder than I thought it would be. When I first got here, I was only 3 weeks into the job and they asked if I could do a sideline job. And I think naively, I thought, oh, yeah, that's fine. And I thought after my first game, like it went pretty well. And it's one of those where you think maybe, oh, I could do a better, like a bigger game and be fine until you realize you need time to grow into those roles.
Yeah.
Like thankfully like there was time before doing, like a smaller game very late at night on CBS Sports Network versus doing an SEC game or a Big Ten game on big CBS versus doing an NFL game. um you need that time to make those mistakes, so in that way I can look now, 4 or 5 years into it versus when I did my first game, like I knew nothing.
Are you ready for some harder slash listener submitted questions?
Sure, I love those.
Favorite place, big school. Like, oh, that's a cool environment for a big school.
Georgia. It is out of every college place that I've done, but then also it is more intense than any NFL practice, specifically their practices and their facilities. It is beyond imaginable. The money they have, the way Kirby Smart runs their practices, he goes around with a microphone, or a megaphone, I guess you call it. And he is constantly shouting at players. He will call you out in front of everyone. A lot of times, like NFL practices, they are a little bit serious, but like, there's so much more professionals that like it's kind of like a run through here and there. Like a lot of their work is beginning of the season. And Georgia is so intense. It's intimidating. And then they go into yoga practice. There's like, every Tuesday they have a yoga instructor come in. So you're watching all these guys get yelled at by Kirby Smart, and then they come in and they take it seriously. They take it super seriously. And because it's working on their flexibility and their breathing and, just their mindset and stuff like that. But like just I said, like their facilities are just like, what am I, this is wild. And then the game setup too, like that's the one where like Not for every college game do you need a police escort into the stadium and a police escort out of the stadium. And that is one of the places where like we have police cars getting us in and out because Athens is so wild. In a good way. I love it. I would never, hate on it.
Favorite place, smaller school? Like, oh, that's a sleeper.
Boise State. I don't know if you can call it a smaller school.
Yeah, that's the only thing I had. It's like, oh, is that still small or is that?
The blue field is really cool. Like I thought it was going to be weird.
Is
And
it?
they have to like put in like I don't know if it's like if they put in like owl noises or something. I think they have to put in like some weird noises because birds will try to dive onto the field thinking that it's water. And then I like Boise's stunning, stunningly gorgeous. I would say my other I'm trying to think. Utah State is stunning because you have the mountains behind it. It's like one of the most beautiful places. We have Mountain West, so like I'm thinking Mountain West schools, and then I am very partial to San Diego State because they have a women's restroom on the bottom level.
Oh,
Most of them don't.
it's amazing that the older you get, the really that life just comes down to like, how close is the bathroom?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you deal with the kind of the coach speak, right? Because sometimes I'll see these things and at home it's kind of fascinating that you hear the reporter and ask this really good question about like, what are you going to do about their defensive front pushing you
Yeah,
back
yeah,
on the
yeah.
left hand line, and the players like, we're just going to take it one game at a time, and like, how do you get a real answer out of somebody?
So one of two things. A lot if I'm off camera, um, I don't do very in-depth questions with my coaches because I try to keep it so conversational with them. Sometimes, like, if we're off camera and I just need an answer, I'm like, hey, what did you like? What did you hate? What do you want to change? And a lot of times they kind of give me a more real answer um, about that. They're pretty good at giving real answers about specific players. Um, but if they don't want to give me something, and there's nothing I can do because I get a one chance to talk to them. They're walking into the tunnel, they're walking out. Um, I'm very honest with the viewer, and I'm like, look, you guys know what coach speak is. He didn't want to give an answer about it, so that's it. Like, this is what I asked him. This is what he said. We know he likes to keep it close to the vest. So apparently, we saw him frustrated on the sideline. Late there in the second, and you know, we'll see how it goes, but, just didn't feel like I'm just honest about whatever they said. I think you can turn it into if they don't give you an answer, you can say they didn't answer you. You don't need to make up something. You can just say they didn't want to answer the question.
How has it changed? How has it changed in the less since you started? Has it changed, I guess, is the question
Yeah,
too.
well, I think the biggest thing where it's changing is media rights. So, you have Netflix getting in the game. They're doing Christmas games. Amazon is in it. Apple's talked about getting in it. It's changed where for those of us that work for certain companies, once a media rights deal is gone, for instance, we had the SEC forever, and
Hmm.
here came in ESPN, and they offered more money, and we lost it. I think it's changing in that aspect where I recently, and I don't know if this is true, I read for like a sports fan to watch like all of the major sports and stuff like that. It's like $5,000 a year now for like streaming and different things like that. You're not just going to ABC, CBS, Fox
Yeah,
for your
yeah.
games. Like, we work for Paramount, and now we're gonna have UFC, so you're gonna have Paramount to watch UFC. And I think for a sports fan, that's where it's kind of changed, where it's all over the map. I've had a lot of friends talk to me about that. The day to day hasn't, I don't think that has really changed so much. Social media has already been there for a while now. I think you need to be very on your toes because if you do make a mistake, somebody's going to catch it. I don't read comments because I have friends that are in this industry and they love reading comments, whether it's a segment that we posted or an interview or something like that, or go see what's trending and why are they trending. Um, I like to go home and keep my mental peace about me.
Yeah, I could see that either you can look at it and kind of just be interested, or like, no, you can't go down that road.
Yeah, I don't go down that road.
Player's name you had to practice the most to be able to pronounce.
God. when it comes to those, like you try to like see if maybe they have a nickname. And so you're hoping the guys in the booth, this is how I get around it, say their name first. So that when I reference them, I can just call them like by their nickname or something.
That's
Any of
brilliant.
the like a lot of like the Hawaiian Pacific Islander names, those are by far the hardest to pronounce. Because there's so much. There's so many syllables. There's so many like there's just so much of it. And I respect the hell out of it. Like they're beautiful names, but they do take a while.
Yeah, if you're not used to it, like your tongue just can't move in that fashion. I remember when
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa came out, when he first
Yeah.
started, and like all the announcers said, "We can't do this right." It's a
Like
brilliant
so for
way to
like
like.
coach Ken Niamatalolo, I think. Oh, sorry, coach. So would you call him Coach Ken?
Has NIL changed things? Do you feel like
Oh my
NIL has
God.
changed the industry?
Yes, yes, it sucks. No, I mean, like, I'm happy for the players. It stinks for a sideline reporter because every team's different, you know? Like, you go into a team and, even now, like, I mean, some of the top schools in the country, you're like, okay, who's that quarterback again? Who's that? It's more rare to have a returning quarterback than it is somebody who's transferred in, and so it makes it harder for us to know these teams. It makes it harder for the coaches to put together solid teams. It really takes them a good chunk of the season. In order to kind of know what your team's going to look like and how you can compete and different things like that. If you're having like an offensive line and everybody's new, and then your quarterback's new and your running backs are new and everything like that, then it's really hard to understand that gel. I think it's kind of taken away some of the like the line like baseball's romantic and stuff like that. How can you not be romantic about baseball? And I think for a while there was how can you not be romantic about college football? Once the season it's still kind of there, but I think some of the romance has been taken away from it.
How many frequent flyer miles do you have?
I actually I calculated it one time. I flew 33,000 miles last year. So I flew more than any, like, they always calculate like which NFL team or which college team is going to fly the furthest. I forget which NFL team it was. Last year I think it was UCLA, but either way, whatever it was, they were like at 28 and 30,000 miles. So yeah,
Rookies.
it's exactly. It's a lot of time in a plane. I have learned many different ways to fly and how to sleep on an airplane very easily.
Last question. What's your favorite thing about it?
The stories. These guys have worked so hard to be there. Like people are like, "Oh, what's your favorite sport to cover? What's your favorite team?" And when I go into games, I have fallen so in love with these players and these teams that like I genuinely have no rooting interest because it doesn't matter what everybody has done something to overcome whatever obstacle in their life to get to this level. There's been sacrifice, you know, there's been tremendous hard work. Like they care so much. Like you want to tell every single player's story. So being able to tell some of them is just truly remarkable because they're all amazing kids. And I mean even the coaches too, but really the players just and for some of them that's the highest level they're ever going to get to. You always when you talk to a player after a game or when you're talking to them in the meeting or you're calling their game, you want to pretend like that is the biggest moment of their life when it comes to football because you never know if it's going to be. Um, and they want to remember that day and that moment for what it is.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Profoundly Pointless. From society and sexuality to science and sports, every week we explore something new from a side of life you may never have heard of. Subscribe if you're interested. There's a playlist, I think, on the right if you want to see more videos like this. Someday I'm going to finish painting that wall, and just for the record, I'm not orange. I just don't know how to fix this. But thanks for checking out the show. Would love to hear from you. Okay, I should stop. Stop. There it is.